Over the years of COD Zombies history, Treyarch has made countless wonder weapons. Some good, some bad, and just some downright perfect. But what is the best wonder weapon? A question that has been asked around the zombies community for ages, ever since World at War, and until Cold War and whatnot. But today, I would like to give my opinion in this video of what I think is the best wonder weapon in zombies history. So what I have set up for this video is a bracket of 8 wonder weapons. Now, obviously, I know that there are more than 8 wonder weapons, but this is just the best way to keep the video shorter, and also it allows me to make a part 2 for, more content. But for those who don't know how a tournament bracket works, I have 8 wonder weapons, and 2 wonder weapons will be going against each other. I've tried to go with wonder weapons that have very similar abilities and attributes, and whoever wins against the other one will go into the next round, and then the next round, and so forth, until there is only one winner left. And for each wonder weapon, I'm going to be talking about what it does, what's its obtainability, its ammo, its reload, and more importantly, the damage it does, especially in the high rounds. Now, something I'm also going to be taking into effect for each wonder weapon is perks and the system that it's based in. Wonder weapons that work in BO2 work very differently from weapons that work in BO4 or Cold War. So with the intro out of the way, let me go straight into the bracket I have set up, and more importantly, the 8 wonder weapons that I'm going to have competing against each other. For the first rounds, we got the Masamune versus the Sliquifier, and then we got the Paralyzer versus the DIE Shockwave, the Wunderwaffe versus the Thunder Gun, and then finally the Raygun Mark II versus the Ray K84. So without further ado, let's just hop straight into this. The Masamune is the upgraded version of the KT4, which is a wonder weapon only featured in Zetsubo no Shima. Keep in mind, I'm only going to talk about the Masamune here. I'm not going to talk about the KT4, but they're pretty much the same anyways. But the Masamune has a 3 fire mode. The first fire mode only affects one zombie that is shot, and it causes a zombie to erupt in a bunch of spores. The second and third shot are the exact same. When shot, it creates a puddle onto the ground that kills zombies in the same exact way as the first shot. However, the only difference between the shot 2 and shot 3 is just how long the puddle stays on the ground. The Masamune can also be used to destroy spider webs, which either just block the map, perk machines, or the gobblegums. It can also increase your luck with the plants, and if you shoot the spores around the map, it'll give you a speed boost. It's also really effective at killing thrashers with a full charge shot, almost killing them, or most likely just killing them outright. And going back onto the speed boost with the orange spores, it works as well with thrashers. To obtain the Masamune, you first have to get the KT4, and to get the KT4, you have to collect a sample from a spider, you have to get a vial from a zombie in the lab coat, and then you also have to get a plant from the underwater section of the map. Once you get all the parts to build the KT4, you can build it in the laboratory, and once you build the KT4, you can get the spider tooth, the liquid divinium vial, and then the plant. And once all those parts are picked up, you can go back to the laboratory to create the formula to make the Masamune. Keep in mind that once you make the KT4, all players in the game can get the KT4 out of the mystery box. And anybody who gets the KT4 out of the mystery box can just bring it to the workbench to give it the Masamune formula. So everybody, 1 player to 4 players, everybody can have a Masamune. Going on to ammo, the Masamune has 6 in the magazine and only 36 in the reserve, which isn't too bad for a wonder weapon, but considering how a lot of times you're just going to use the 3 charge shot, which uses 3 shots, it's not really a lot of ammo to work with, but at least with the 3 time shot, you get a lot of time with the puddle to kill enough zombies. For the reload speed, the Masamune has a reload time of 3 seconds and 1.5 seconds with speed cola. For the damage, the Masamune is an infinite damage wonder weapon, so that means whether if you get this gun on round 1, which I don't know how on earth you're doing that, or round 100, it's going to kill zombies instantly. Also, I'm going to talk about the duration for the puddles. If you do the second shot, which only takes 2 bullets, the puddle's going to remain for 10 seconds. However, if you do the third shot, where you shoot 3 bullets, it'll stay for 15 seconds. Moving on to the Sliquifier, which is only featured in Die Rise. When shot at zombies, it creates a puddle of purplish goo that causes the zombies to slip and explode into like a purplish mist. Now, this goo can also chain kill other zombies, which is what it's mainly used for killing. And something to note down is that this puddle, while it's on the ground, the player can actually slip and slide with it, so it can come back to hurt the player, because if you shoot it close to the edge of the map and you slip and fall off to the map, you die. I mean, that's kind of basic knowledge. But not just sliding off buildings, it could also make you slide into the horde of zombies, and you could just die that way. Just like the Masamune, the Sliquifier is a buildable wonder weapon. You're going to need 4 parts. The first part being the trigger, the second part being the fire extinguisher, the third part being a blue canister-ish thing, and the final part being a mannequin foot. Once you bring it to the workbench, you can craft it and get it for free. And if you lose a Sliquifier at any point in time, either just buying a wall weapon, or just downing and losing it, you can get it back from the mystery box. Keep in mind that unlike the Masamune, the Sliquifier cannot be obtained by 4 players in co-op. It used to be able to with a glitch where everyone would hold the interact button while the Sliquifier was fully built, but that's been patched so only 1 person can get it in the game. Going to the ammo, the Sliquifier has 10 bullets in its magazine and 40 in the reserve, which obviously makes up for a 50 in total, which is way more than the Masamune, especially because the Sliquifier doesn't have multi-shots. It's just a plain one-shot weapon. And for the reload time, the Sliquifier has a base reload speed of 4 seconds, and paired with Speed Cola, you can get it down to 2 seconds, half the speed. Now for the damage on the Sliquifier, it is infinite up until round 100, where it starts to make crawlers. Whenever you see people do high rounds on Die Rise, you usually see them use the Sliquifier up to round 100, and then once round 101 hits, they do the Trample Steam method right next to the Quick Revive machine. Now looking at both these weapons, they are pretty obviously similar for how they kill zombies. They both go with that same puddle theme. But something to note is that the Sliquifier does have a larger ammo pool, with it having 50 total rounds. And although the Masamune has roughly around 39 bullets, that doesn't count the 3 charged shots, which take 3 bullets. So you're really looking at like 14, 13-ish, like full max Masamune shots, compared to the Sliquifier's 50 total shots overall. And that's saying that if once you get a max ammo, or you just have the Masamune fully maxed out on ammo, you don't misfire, you don't shoot a spider just once, you don't shoot a plant, you don't shoot a gobblegum machine, you have all that ammo, and all you do with that ammo is use the 3 charge shot. Now, something really important to note down for this comparison is that the Sliquifier has been nerfed. One of the few instances of zombies where a wonder weapon actually gets nerfed, but the Sliquifier is one of them, and probably the most well-known. Before the nerf, Sliquifier was easily one of the best weapons during Black Ops 2, and just in zombies overall. And obviously, it wouldn't be fair to just say, hey, I'm just going to use the Sliquifier a couple years back. However, although it is nerfed right now if you go on Black Ops 2, you can actually reverse the nerf, or at least some aspects of the nerf. If you go to a certain sign on Die Rise and shoot it 10 times with a Sliquifier, you'll actually reverse its code or whatever to go back to how it was nerfed. Now, all this nerf does is allow you to create way larger kill chains. I think after round 100, it still falls off in damage, not as much as before its nerf, though. And the reason why I'm saying all this is I am actually going to count the pre-nerf Sliquifier only after you shoot the sign 10 times, because it's such an easy way to just get one of the best wonder weapons in all of zombies. All you have to do is shoot a sign 10 times, and if Zombie World Records allows players in Die Rise to do the patch, then I'm going to allow myself to use that for the video. So with all that being said, I believe that the winner for this round is going to have to go to the Sliquifier. And that's not to throw shade on the Masamune. The Masamune is still a great wonder weapon. I believe that for Black Ops 3, I think they did a decent job at trying to mimic the Sliquifier, but they didn't really do kind of on par with it. The best way I could describe it is kind of like you're at school, right? Lunchtime, you're heading to the cafeteria. You heard on the intercom it was pizza day. You're stoked. You want to get that cheesy pepperoni slice. You get into the line. Out of nowhere, big old athlete Larry just comes in, pushes you aside, probably spits on you, kicks you, stomps on your shoes or whatever, calls you a geek, and skips ahead of you. And Larry the athlete, gets that pepperoni slice. And you're in line, and the lunch lady looks at you and says, "I'm sorry." And they hand you a cheese pizza slice. Although you wanted the pepperoni slice, you got the cheese slice. It's still pizza. It's still good nonetheless, but you really would have wanted that pepperoni slice. That is what the Sliquifier and the Masamune is. The Sliquifier is the pepperoni slice, and the Masamune is the cheese slice. Only being featured in Buried, the Paralyzer when fired has a stage where it slows zombies down for a period of time, and then it goes on to the second stage where it starts to disintegrate the zombies. If the player aims down and then fires a Paralyzer, they will be able to fly and hover for a period of time. It's really useful for getting to places that can't be reached at all or only can be reached by using the trample steam. And although the Paralyzer doesn't have an ammo count, it does have the ability to overheat. There's a little dial on the weapon that has 3 zeros. If that number goes up to 115, the gun overheats, and you have to wait till it goes to, I believe, 105 or just down to 100 to be able to fire it again. Also, as far as I'm aware, Speed Cola and Double Tap have no effect on the Paralyzer. However, for Buried with Vulture's Aid, the little ammo drops actually do cool down the Paralyzer faster. The only way to obtain the Paralyzer is by just simply hitting the box. It's not like the Sliquifier or any of the other guns. You don't build it, you don't get it from a quest. You just have to spend the 950 points and kind of hope for the best that you get it out of the box. For the ammo, like stated previously, it doesn't have ammo, but it can overheat. So if you count that as ammo, then just until you get to that overheat, which I'm pretty sure, at least when I was figuring this out, the Paralyzer has a continuous fire of 6 seconds before it overheats. And if you pack-a-punch it, then you get the Petrifier, which can go up to 10 seconds before it overheats. For the reload time, it doesn't have a reload time. Unless you count the cooldown, then it does, yeah. And for the damage, like I stated previously, it slows zombies down for a couple seconds, like 1 or 2, and then it slowly disintegrates them. And whenever you have the Paralyzer pack-a-punch into the Petrifier, it does have a faster killing speed, so the zombies aren't as slowed for longer. Now, something to note down is that once you reach round 70, the Paralyzer is completely useless. It doesn't kill zombies, which is funny because for the Easter egg, you can go to round infinity, in which the Paralyzer is kind of like the only weapon that kills zombies. But once you reach round 70 and then so on, it's basically useless. You can still maneuver with the ability to hover with it, but damage-wise, all it can really do is just slow down the zombies. The DIE Shockwave, or also known as the Decompressive Isotopic Estrament Machine, works very similar to the Paralyzer in which that it sucks zombies. However, with the Shockwave, once you suck enough zombies to death, that didn't sound right, but once you suck enough zombies to death, you can build up charge, and you can shoot an orb that, when it comes into contact with the zombies, it sends a massive blast that kills zombies nearby. Keep in mind that you have to kill a zombie fully with the suck ability to gain charge to use the orb. Also, unlike the Paralyzer, you don't get ammo from the ammo drops that zombies drop, or like the hazard guy, I forgot his name. But the ammo drops don't work. You can go to the ammo stations and just buy it. It does cost 10 grand, but once you get into the later rounds, you can spend that type of money. Now, I am aware that the Shockwave does have elemental variations that all do things differently. However, just for the Paralyzer and just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to keep it with the basic Shockwave variation. Maybe in another video, I'll tackle the other 4 elemental variations and kind of put them together, see which one is definitively the best one. But for the moment right now, I am fully focusing on just the Shockwave itself. To obtain the Shockwave, you actually have 3 ways to get it. The first being just the mystery box, so if you just want to gamble, you could do it that way. The second way is by doing the challenges and building up to a legendary award, in which you have a slight chance of getting it. In my playthroughs, I've actually never gotten it this way. I've always just done the third way, which is just doing the quest for it. And for the quest, it has you getting a keycard from one of the hazmat guys, in which you have to use on a locker to get a DIE remote, in which you have to go to the knock building to activate it to suck zombies and then send a blast so you can get it out of the closet. For the ammo, the Shockwave can go up to 60. Keep in mind that the suck ability has to be used to gain ammo. And to shoot the blast, you need at least 15 rounds into the Shockwave in order to actually shoot the blast. So if you have a full magazine of 60, do some basic math, you get 7 shots. Totally not 4. If you packet punch the Shockwave, the ammo goes from 60 to 90, so instead of 4 total blasts you could have, you go up to 6. And for the reload time, there is no reload time. And going on to damage, I believe the suck mode does damage in percentages, so it's the same all around. However, the blast is a one-shot up until like round 40-ish. I definitely noticed that when I was playing on round 50 to 55. Keep in mind, for Cold War, round 55 is the maximum health cap for zombies and mini-bosses and such. But I noticed on those rounds specifically that whether if it was a horde of zombies or just a single zombie, it took at least 2 blasts with a fully upgraded Mark III Shockwave to kill a zombie. So both these wonder weapons are really good, and they do their own thing while having some similarities. The similarities being that they don't really have ammo. Like for the Paralyzer, it doesn't have any ammo, but it does have a cooldown and it can't overheat. With the Shockwave, you have infinite ammo in the sucking ability, and you could use that charge to send a blast to kill zombies. Now, the things that make them different, like the Shockwave having the ability to shoot that blast, the Paralyzer allows the player to just simply float, hover, and just go places to escape hordes of zombies if they get cornered, or if they just want to go from one saloon to the other saloon, or like from the saloon to the workbench. Now, the major issue with both these wonder weapons is just their killing capabilities. They don't really hold up, at least compared to most wonder weapons. The Shockwave isn't really good on round 50, and the Paralyzer, once round 70 kicks in, it's basically useless. Which, although for the most casual zombie player, they don't care about getting to round 50 or round 70. For the most part, you actually kind of have to be in the mood to go for high rounds like that. So although the damage does drop off, the Paralyzer still goes and has its maximum killing potential up until round 70. While once round 70 hits, it's useless. The Shockwave on round 70 doesn't do as much damage as it should. It takes 2 shots instead of 1, but it still does damage regardless. However, the Paralyzer simply just allows you to hover. It grants you a new form of movement, which is especially helpful for people who do high round strategies. If you look at videos of people doing it, they'll do the subsurface resonator strat, which that's a mouthful. But the main thing that allows that strat to even work is the Paralyzer that allows you to hover up from where Jug is to go to the workbench to pick up a new resonator when the one you place down breaks. So simply just because of that, because it grants that new form of movement, even when the damage falls off, I'm going to have to give it to the Paralyzer. I'm going to have to give the win to the Paralyzer. If the Shockwave always was a one-shot with its blast, maybe we might be looking at a different story here. But as of right now, the Paralyzer is going to be taking the win home today in this match. Being the second wonder weapon in COD Zombies history following after the Raygun, the Wunderwaffe is featured in Shinonuma, Durice, BO1 and Black Ops 3 versions of Verrucht, Shinonuma, Durice, or the Giant, Vanguard, and Modern Warfare 3. And Call of the Dead, when you do the Easter egg. Almost forgot that guy. But anyways, the Wunderwaffe fires a bolt of electricity that can chain up and kill up to 10 zombies. This damage is infinite, and during the animation when the zombies are getting electrocuted, it looks like they're still like alive-ish, but you can actually run through these zombies if you're in a corner, or if you just simply want to pass them. Now, for the World at War and Black Ops 1 versions of the Wunderwaffe, it does actually deal splash damage back to the player if shot at close quarters, which when I looked at it, it stated that it does the same amount of damage as just a zombie hitting you. So if you are red screened and you get splash damaged, you will down or just die. And if you played World at War, especially Durice or just Shinonuma, you'd obviously know that if you take that splash damage and you do get hit, there's a bug that reduces the player's maximum health, which is more noticeable if you have Juggernog, because it's almost like it never existed. However, for the Black Ops 3 version of the Wunderwaffe, it did get slight improvements. The first being that if shot in close quarters, it will do no splash damage back to the player. And it does still remain on that 10 zombie limit for the chain kill. However, it could also make crawlers in the vicinity of the zombies nearby. So the Black Ops 3 version is just slightly better because it allows it to make crawlers. Now for the ammo, the Wunderwaffe has 3 in the gun. It's the little light bulbs, and then 15 in the reserve. When you pack-a-punch it, the ammo is doubled, so you have 6 in the magazine and 30 in the reserve. Now for the reload speed for the Wunderwaffe is 5.5 seconds, and then 4.66 seconds when it's pack-a-punched. And then it's 2.25 seconds with Speed Cola unpack-a-punched, and then it's 2.15 seconds pack-a-punched with Speed Cola added onto it. Now that's for the World at War and Black Ops 1 versions. The Black Ops 3 Wunderwaffe has a slightly slower reload, not by a lot, but it's definitely noticeable. And for the damage, it is infinite. Round 1, round 100, round 255, round 1 billion, it will always one-shot zombies. However, keep in mind that it does have that 10 kill limit for the chain kills. If you're playing Black Ops 3, though, you still have that 10 limit, but you can make crawlers. And I forgot to mention this, it does stun more zombies. So it can stun up to like 15, 20 zombies, but just keep in mind that only 10 of those zombies will be killed. The others will probably be turned into crawlers or just stop the shocked animation and then just go back to running at you. Now for the Thundergun, which is another zombie wonder weapon classic. The Thundergun has been featured in Kino der Toten, Ascension, Black Ops 1's version of Nacht der Untoten, all the BO3 remastered versions of those said maps, Revelations, and Tag der Toten, I believe. I feel like I'm missing out on one, but I'm pretty sure those are the only ones that have the Thundergun. Anyways, the Thundergun fires a large blast of air, which does infinite damage and just sends zombies just flying. Now, unlike the Wunderwaffe, the Thundergun doesn't have a kill cap, but rather it is limited within its range. So for any zombies that are within close to medium-ish range of you, when you fire the Thundergun, it will kill those zombies. However, for zombies that are a bit farther away, it'll knock them down onto the ground, in which they'll just get back up and follow you. However, if you know how to train the zombies, it's very easy to just not worry about the zombies that are in high range within you. If you're able to get them into a wide format rather than a long format, a blast from the Thundergun will kill them all. Going onward to the ammo, it has 2 in the magazine and 12 in the reserve. And when pack-a-punch to the Zeus cannon, it holds 4 in the magazine and then 24 in the reserve. For the reload speed, the Thundergun has a base reload speed of 2.80 seconds. If you pack-a-punch it, it goes down to 2.40 seconds. And if you have the base Thundergun with Speed Cola, it's 1.40 seconds. And then if you have the Pack-a-Punch variation with Speed Cola, it goes down to 1.30 seconds. Keep in mind, you can only reload the Thundergun and the Zeus cannon once it's completely out of ammo in its magazine. You can't reload it halfway through or anything like that. You have to fully wait for the ammo to be spent. So if you're playing Kino der Toten or any maps with the Thundergun that has Hellhounds, or just if you see a max ammo in general, shoot all the blast out of the magazine, reload, and then pick up the max ammo then. And for the damage on the Thundergun is infinite. It will always kill zombies. Something to know is that for Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 4, zombies that are within a long range that only get knocked down take a 15th% of their damage off. However, for Black Ops 3, they don't take any damage at all. Alright, so we got 2 very old school wonder weapons back in the good old days, but now they're fighting each other. Now, something to note down is that for Black Ops 1, the Wunderwaffe and the Thundergun never dropped power-ups. So, whether if you shot a zombie with the Wunderwaffe, or you blasted zombies halfway across the theater in Kino der Toten with the Thundergun, they would have never dropped a Carpenter, max ammo, nuke, double points, insta-kill, all that. Now, this was fixed in Black Ops 3. And looking on the cons for these wonder weapons, the Wunderwaffe does kind of have just slightly more, with it dealing splash damage if you're playing on World at War or Black Ops 1, especially in World at War because it could just take away your jug. However, there is a con about the Thundergun, which I didn't mention, and that's that in the later rounds, it does have the chance of messing up and bugging out to where when you shoot zombies, it won't do anything. The bullet will be fired, it will do the little animation, of like the exhaust leaving the gun. However, all the zombies will be simply unaffected. And this seriously sucks if you are about to be trapped in a corner, because you are no longer about to be trapped in a corner. You are going to be trapped in a corner and you are going to die. But looking back on the Wunderwaffe, with only having a 10 zombie kill cap, although it does have more ammo than the Thunder Gun, I feel like you can get more bang for your buck with the Thunder Gun rather than the Wunderwaffe, because the only thing that limits the Thunder Gun is just range. But if you can just train the zombies to where they're all close to you before you fire, that's not really a problem. Now, if the Wunderwaffe didn't have a cap, I believe that it would be significantly better, but I just don't think that the Wunderwaffe simply just having more ammo can make it better than the Thunder Gun. So I think between these two, I'm going to have to give the win for the Thunder Gun, solely because you could just get more bang for your buck, like I stated previously, if you just know how to train the zombies right, or if you just know how to train the hordes right. Because with the Wunderwaffe, especially once you get into the later rounds, you kill 10 zombies, that's not even a horde. That's maybe like half or like a third of the horde. So you still have to train that horde while you have more zombies pouring onto you. With the Thunder Gun, you shoot, it's gone. All those zombies, that group of dead people is gone. They are not within your vicinity anymore. But yeah, I'm giving it to the Thunder Gun. That's just what I believe. I feel like this is gonna be where people are just gonna click off and be angry, but that's just the truth. The Raygun Mark II's first appearance was in the map Buried. However, once you bought that DLC pack, it then was available for all the other Black Ops 2 maps. It also appears in all the Chronicle remasters in Black Ops 3, Blood of the Dead, Classified, Alpha Omega, and Tog der Toten. The Raygun Mark II fires a 3-round burst of lasers that can penetrate through zombies, and within what I was seeing, it can go up to 4 zombies per burst. Unlike the first Raygun, the Raygun Mark II doesn't really have splash damage. It's there, but it's not a lot. So with the Raygun, how you would usually want to shoot zombies by like the feet or just close to the floor, with the Raygun Mark II, it's best if you just shoot them outright, preferably in the head, because the Raygun Mark II actually does deal headshot damage. And similar to the Mustang and Sally's and the Boom Hilda, the Raygun Mark II actually pushes the character back whenever they fire, which some people actually do use that as a speed boost for speed runs or just in general. And the Raygun Mark II is one of the few weapons in zombies that is actually affected by double tap with an increased fire rate. To obtain the Raygun Mark II, you have to get it out of the box. However, this is different from Alpha Omega, where you could still get it out of the box. You could also do a quest to obtain it for free. Now, something interesting is that in Buried, the Raygun Mark II has the same amount of chance as any other weapon out of the mystery box. However, for any other Black Ops 2 map, that chance is actually lessened. For example, the chance of getting the Type 25 or the Galil out of the mystery box, that chance divided by a third is the chance of getting the Raygun Mark II on any map besides Buried. I know that was poorly explained, but that's the best way I could kind of put it. Basically, what I'm saying is that the Raygun Mark II has a higher chance of being obtained in Buried rather than any other Black Ops 2 map. For the ammo, the base Raygun Mark II has 21 in the magazine and 162 in the reserve. And when Pack-a-Punched, it has 42 in the magazine and 201 in the reserve. For the reload speed, the Raygun Mark II has a 2.98 second reload time, basically 3 seconds. And with Speed Cola, it has a 1.49 second reload speed. Just want to give a shout out to the Zombie Wiki for this entire video for helping me so much. But more importantly for this part, because the stats for the Raygun Mark II, I would have not been able to obtain if it wasn't for the Zombie Wiki. So for the damage, it deals 2,300 damage to a body shot and 50,000 to a headshot. Then it deals 4,600 to a body shot and then 100,000 to a headshot when Pack-a-Punched. That means that the Raygun Mark II has a 21.7 headshot multiplier. Something also to keep in mind is that those damages are only valid if all 3 bursts from the Raygun Mark II hits the zombie. So when going into the high rounds, Pack-a-Punch, the Raygun can one-tap headshot zombies until round 58, and then when it's Pack-a-Punched, it can one-shot headshot until round 70-ish. The Ray K84, or also known as the Reactory Avamat Islichetel Kukale 80, I don't speak Russian. Anyways, the Ray K84 is only obtainable on Firebase Z. and it fires these purple bolts, which actually turn out to be Ethereum, which is like the crystals you get that are used to like upgrade your perks and weapons. Now it also has a secondary fire mode where you could use the underbarrel grenade launcher to shoot an orb that slows down zombies. However, if you shoot into the orb with the first regular fire mode, it'll cause a explosion that kills any zombies near it. Now, if you shoot the orb and a zombie's in front of you while you're trying to shoot into the orb, the Reiki actually has penetration, so it'll go through that zombie and into the orb. So if there's a horde of zombies in front of you, don't worry, you could still just shoot into the orb to cause the explosion. To obtain the Reiki 84, you can just get it from the box, from the trials with the legendary reward, or you can get it from building it and following the quest. And for the ammo, it has 30 in the magazine and 270 in the reserve. And when pack-a-punched, it has 50 in the magazine and 300 in the reserve. Also, to shoot the orb, it does cost 10 bullets. For the reload speed, the Reiki has a 2.60 reload speed. With Speed Cola, it goes down to 1.80 seconds. And for the damage, the first fire mode with the Ethereum bolts isn't really the main point of using the Reiki. It's the orb with the exploding feature with it. Once you reach round 55, which is the health cap for Cold War zombies, the orb still one-shots zombies with the exploding ability. Now, on round 50, right before the health cap, it does two-shot mimics and manglers, but once you reach that health cap at 55, the mimic and manglers do go up to needing another orb. So it's 3 orbs in total on the maximum health cap for mini-bosses. But for any zombies or mini-bosses that haven't been killed off yet after the orb explodes, it still has a lingering slowness effect from the orb being placed in general. So you definitely have enough time to just shoot another orb, go back to the first fire mode, and explode that orb again. Although the Raygun Mark II does have a very impressive headshot multiplier, once you reach round 75, it definitely falls flat, and especially when you get into round 100, it becomes almost useless. Keep in mind that the pack-a-punched headshot multiplier is 100,000 damage. Round 100 zombies have 5.55 million health. However, with the Reiki, once you reach round 55, that is it for zombie health. It stops, same thing with mini-bosses. So round 55 to round 100 and so forth and so on, it'll still one-shot zombies with the exploding orb, and at most you're going to need just 3. However, if you have Ring of Fire with you, that's a different story because any mini-boss can just die. Not even from the orb, but from the first fire mode with the bolt, you could just use that to kill any zombie or mini-bosses in your way. Looking back, it probably would have been a better comparison for the Raygun Mark III versus the Reiki, but there's not really much I can do now. But with that out of the way, I think I'm going to have to give the win on this round to the Reiki 84. Alright, so now that we got all the Wonder Weapons out of the way, statistical wise, and we got all the winners for the next round, it's time to go over again the Wonder Weapons that are going to be into the next round. So we have the Sliquifier versus the Paralyzer, and then we have the Thunder Gun versus the Reiki 84. So without further ado, let's just go straight into this. Alright, so the Sliquifier versus the Paralyzer, both Wonder Weapons from Black Ops 2, and personally, both Wonder Weapons I would love to see return. Maybe Black Ops 6 can do something about that. But anyways, when it comes to these two, the Sliquifier does have more damage, with it lasting up until round 100, which is kind of like the end goal for a Wonder Weapon, I believe. I feel like a Wonder Weapon should go up to round 100 decently, or just be infinite damage altogether. However, like stated before, the Paralyzer only goes up to round 70. However, it does have that mode of transportation with just hovering over zombies. However, when it comes to just these Wonder Weapons, I think I just have to give it to the Sliquifier. I mean, the damage it does, the chain kills, and everything. And something funny is that both these Wonder Weapons have been nerfed. I don't know what it is with Black Ops 2 and nerfing Wonder Weapons, but they like doing it. That's a Treyarch thing. They love to do that. But just like how the nerf with the Sliquifier nerfed its damage a lot, the nerf for the Paralyzer actually took away its ability to kill zombies after round 70. It used to kill zombies infinitely. However, unlike the Sliquifier, the Paralyzer has no way to reverse that patch. So, like I said, this win's gonna have to go to the Sliquifier. And now moving on to the Thunder Gun versus the Reiki 84. Now, when I looked at both these wonder weapons, there is one major issue I saw, and that was simply the Thunder Gun's ammo. Although the Thunder Gun is able to one-shot zombies infinitely, at some point, especially in the later rounds, you are going to run out of ammo on the Thunder Gun. And without the use of cashback or any other gobblegums that give the player ammo, you're just going to run out of it. Especially if you're on Black Ops 1 where you can't use gobblegums, and the only way to get more Thunder Gun ammo is to either hope for a max ammo, which you have to use another gun because the Thunder Gun won't drop power-ups, or you hit the box to get a new one. However, with the Ray K, it is very hard to run out of ammo for that weapon. Although using the orb and exploding it does take a decent amount of ammo out of the gun, mimics and manglers and I think armored zombies too, they all drop ammo, which isn't like a little bit like Vulture's Aid where it gives 1 or 2 or 3 if you're lucky. They give you like a full magazine per drop. It's basically just a max ammo over the duration of the round. With my experience playing Firebase Z, especially with the Ray K, I have never run out of ammo with it, except for like once when I was doing like a generator defense. And although the Thunder Gun does have infinite damage, the Ray K doesn't really fall that short behind it. It one-shots any zombies with the exploding orb. And for mini-bosses like the Mangler and the Mimic, it 2-3 shots them on round 55. But even if it does take more to kill those mini-bosses, they're still slowed down by the effect of the orb, so that's enough time to just shoot another orb and explode that orb again to kill them. So although I love the Thunder Gun with all my heart, and I hate to disrespect such an OG, I'm gonna have to give this win to the Ray K. It does infinite damage, so to speak, and you never really run out of ammo on the thing. And if we're including the Ring of Fire into this battle, then that just gives it to the Ray K even more because you don't even need the orb. You could just use the first fire mode to just kill zombies, manglers, mimics, Larry the Athlete. You can just demolish anything. And now we're here. The final battle of wonder weapons. In one corner, we have the Sliquifier, and in the other corner, we have the Ray K 84. And before I go into this, I just want to mention that I am surprised that the Ray K has made it this far. Before I did this video, I actually had no idea that the Ray K had that secondary fire mode and how good it was. When I was doing the research for the Ray K, I was looking up a video on how to get to round 100 because I wondered how people just got to round 100 on Firebase Z. And there's a strategy on upstairs on one of the buildings, and they were using this orb thing, and I was like, what is that? And I didn't realize that was something that the Ray K does. I mean, when you pick it up, it literally says press whatever button to activate secondary fire mode, and I guess I just glossed over that so many times. I just want to give a props to the Ray K before this goes on that I was not expecting it to get this far. So the Sliquifier and the Ray K 84, both wonder weapons that can obviously get you up to round 100, which is something, like I said previously, you want in a wonder weapon. You want something that'll get you from round 1 to 100 in less than like 3 hours. However, this is one of the big wonder weapon killers in this video. Just damage fall off. Once you reach that triple round, once you reach that 100, the Sliquifier becomes absolutely nothing. Now, it's not like the Paralyzer where it just stops killing zombies. It still has killing potential. It's just not as good, and especially because the Sliquifier can actually come back to harm you, whether if you just slide off the puddle, just off into the cliff and you just die that way, or if you slide into a zombie horde and you just down that way. The Sliquifier can actually harm you, but if you know how to use it, you don't have to worry about that. But because it's still such a big thing, I think that's something to hold accountable for it. However, the same cannot be said for the Ray K. It can kill zombies from round 55 to 1000, and the orb is just, and especially if we're going to include the Ring of Fire into this, it's just too good. I wasn't expecting that. It's just way too good of a wonder weapon with the orb. Even without the Ring of Fire, it is still so good. Now, I'll just state the obvious and say that the Cold War engine and just how Cold War Zombies works definitely plays a huge factor into why the Ray K is just so good. Because this doesn't just go for the Ray K. For any weapon in Cold War Zombies, if it can one-shot zombies on round 55, it will one-shot zombies on round 100. That's just the health cap for all the zombies and all the mini bosses. So if the Raygun was in literally any other game besides Cold War, I think it would probably fall off way earlier. Maybe like round 50, 60, 70 maybe, but it's only in Cold War, so I just have to go off based on that. So with the Cold War system and just how good the Raygun is, and just the negatives that the Sliquifier can cause, even if you unpatch it or unnerf it with the symbol. I hate to do this because I wasn't expecting this. I was not expecting this to be the outcome of this video. I believe the winner of this championship, of this tournament, of this Mortal Kombat escapade of wonder weapons is gonna have to go to the Raygun 84. So yeah, let's just give a round of applause to the Raygun 84, man. I keep on saying it. I just was not expecting it to win this round or just this tournament in general. I thought it would have lost against the Raygun Mark II, if I'm being honest. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, then definitely leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this with tournament-wise, or if you just want to hear me yap about wonder weapons or maps or whatever, definitely let me know. And if you want another video like this, where I take a bunch of weapons, it doesn't even have to be wonder weapons. It could just be assault rifles, shotguns, pistols, or anything. Let me know down in the comments. And for the next wonder weapon tournament, let me know what the lineup should be. I think I'm going to keep it the same, where I have 8 wonder weapons, then it goes into 4 wonder weapons, and then it goes into 2 wonder weapons fighting against each other. But yeah, definitely getting y'all's feedback is a very important part of videos like these. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.